Today we would like to introduce you to the Magic THipPro telephone hybrid system. The system is a 19-inch 1U rack unit and is available for POTS, ISDN and Voice over IP lines. You can choose between an 8-line system or a 16-line system. The 8-line system can also be upgraded later on. An exception is the POTS version, which is available only for 8 lines. We see now the front side and the rear side of the unit. Magic THipPro provides 2 Lan interfaces, so that audio and control can be separated from each other. 2 module slots are available, which can be equipped with ISDN or POTS interface cards. In the first quarter of 2016, we will also offer a Dante interface card for Magic THipPro. The system provides 2 analog and additionally 8 digital audio inputs and outputs. On the front side, 2 handset or headset interfaces are available. Magic THipPro has also a programmable GPIO interface, which can be used e.g. for external signaling. 2 further interesting details are that the system does not have a fan inside and works completely noiseless, and that it has a very low power consumption. Also important is the fact that we have an individual echo canceller, automatic gain control and expander for each caller line, which provides an excellent audio quality even in conferences, which can be between up to 16 participants. The Magic THipPro telephone hybrid can be controlled by 2 different software versions. The first one, which we see in the background, is the Magic THipPro LAN software, and the second one is the Magic THipPro screener. In total, up to 20 clients can access the system simultaneously. With the admin upgrade, the system can be split between up to 6 studios. Both software versions are installed on a Windows PC or a Windows tablet. The connection between the hybrid and the Windows PCs is made by LAN. We will now have a detailed look at the Magic THipPro LAN software. As you can see, the caller lines are displayed in a clear layout next to each other. When we are getting an incoming call, the respective caller line is blinking in yellow. We have an SQL database behind the system, so if the caller is already in the database and the number is transmitted, we will see immediately all available information. We can now accept the caller on pre-talk to have a conversation before putting him to on air. Pre-talk can be made either by a handset or a headset that is directly connected to the telephone hybrid, or we can use an audio interface that is connected to the mixing console. A third option is the so-called pre-talk streaming function. Pre-talk streaming means that the audio is transmitted via LAN between the hybrid and the control PC. This is an advantage because we do not have any additional audio cabling, since the LAN network is already there for control. To the control PC we connect a USB handset or headset to talk to the caller. A further benefit of the pre-talk streaming function is the integrated recording function. With the record button we can easily record the caller signal. It is stored as WAV file on your PC or on any PC within the network. To stop the recording, we simply press the record button again. Now we can also have a look at the recordings which we have made so far. Here we see the caller's name and number, the date, time and the duration. We can also adjust the caller's level manually, or we can use the automatic gain control. This function is available separately for each caller line. It is also possible to adjust the caller's detail to enter information, or we can also block the caller. So if he calls in the future, he will be rejected by the system and he only hears the busy tone. We do also have a waiting position. In the hold status, the caller listens, for example, to the on-air signal, or we can configure an external hold signal, or it is also possible to have a recorded hold signal. In this example, we have configured 2 on-air outputs for each caller line. So we can switch the caller to on-air 1 or to on-air 2. Alternatively, we could have also configured only 1 on-air line. A third option would be to have a separate audio output for each caller line. We can also put callers in conference. This can be done very easily. When we are getting a second call, we simply switch caller number 2 to the same audio output as caller number 1. Now both callers are switched in conference, they can hear each other in the presenter, and they are available as mixed signal at the respective audio output. If we would switch caller number 2 to on-air 1, both callers would be available at a separate audio output. Of course, we have also a drop key to drop the connection, and we have a call forwarding function. For call forwarding, we offer 2 different options. The first one is the so-called explicit call transfer. This is basically the call forwarding function which we know from our normal telephone. The other one is the internal call forwarding. For the internal call forwarding, we reserve a further channel of the hybrid system. The advantage is that the caller is at all times within the hybrid, and he can be switched back to pre-talk hold on air at any time. This is not possible for the explicit call transfer. However, for the explicit call transfer, we do not have to reserve a channel of the hybrid. So depending on your requirements, you can choose between these 2 options. Of course, it is also possible to dial out from the Magic TH IP Pro LAN software. For this, we can use the integrated telephone book based on the SQL database, or we can simply press the pre-talk hold or on-air button of a free line, and then the dialing window is open, and we can search the database for the respective entry. The matching entries are displayed in the middle, and here we can select the available numbers and dial out. Alternatively, it would also be possible to use the manual dialing, of course. Last but not least, we also do have a few global keys. We have the drop all functions, with which we can drop all lines simultaneously. And we have the lock all function, so all lines are locked and nobody can call in. This could be especially useful when you have a game show announced for a certain time and you don't want the callers to call in earlier. This was roughly the Magic TH IP Pro LAN software, and now we will have a look at the Magic TH IP Pro screener. This is the Magic TH IP Pro screener software. As the name already says, it is especially intended for screeners or for producers. Here, the caller lines are displayed below each other. This gives us space for our list function in the middle and a data entry mask on the right side of the user interface. The list function provides several lists which we can display. We have the last calls list. Here we can show all the recent calls. We see the name, the number, the date, time and duration of the call. And the small arrow shows us if it was an incoming or outgoing call. And we can see in which status the caller has been. Yellow stands for an incoming call, orange for hold, red for on air, and green for pre-talk. We can also display the list callers history. This refers to the caller which is displayed in the data entry mask. We see all the entries and the date of the entries, and we can also display the blocked callers. As I have mentioned in the description of the Magic TH IP Pro LAN software, we can block callers and they will only hear the busy tone if they try to call in. With the Magic TH IP Pro Screener software, we can also define the duration of the blocking. Another list is the Noted Callers list. This is useful if we want to mark callers which are interesting and which we want to remember for our show later on. To put a caller on the Noted Callers list, we can use the star button. From the noted callers, we can also generate a callback list. So, for example, we select entries which we want to use for callback because they are relevant for our show. And of course, we also have the recordings list if the workplace is enabled for pre-talk streaming. Here we can open the context menu with the right mouse key. We can show the recording, play it. We can explore it, which means we can see where it is stored, or we can also delete it. Last but not least, if the system has the social media upgrade, we can also display your social media accounts. At the moment we support Twitter, and in the first quarter of 2016 we will also support Facebook. We see here all the tweets that have been sent to our account, and we can of course open one of the tweets. We can answer it, we can retweet it, we can hide it if it's not interesting for us, or we can flag it for the presenter so that he can read it out during the show. We can also write our own tweets, of course, and we can search Twitter for certain subjects. Here we see how many unread tweets we have at the moment. Now, the screener usually works in that way that he's answering all the incoming calls. Also here, our caller line is blinking in yellow if we receive an incoming call. The screener can accept the caller on pre-talk, talk to the caller, and he can enter new information directly on the caller line. To save this information, he presses the Save button. Now he can display all available information in the data entry mask by pressing the Show button. Here we have a lot of entry fields so that the screener can enter more information for the caller. We have basic details like number and name, job, birthday, age, contact details, and we can also create a new history entry with the plus button. We can rate the caller, we can assign a mood to the caller, and as I already explained, we can mark it to be put on the noted callers list. The screener can also put the caller to hold to the waiting position, or he can also put the caller directly to on air. Now, the Magic TH IP Pro screener software is not only available in the screener layout, but we provide also a presenter view. The presenter view is of course meant to be used for the presenter, for the host of the talk show. It does not have a data entry mask because that's not relevant for the presenter, but it shows only the caller lines with the most important information. You can also activate the list function for the presenter. This could be interesting if you want to show the latest tweets so that the presenter can read them out. The presenter can switch the caller now to on air simply by clicking on the hold button. He can also switch the caller back to hold, or he can also drop the caller. As you can see, the drop button is located on the other side of the caller line so that the caller cannot be dropped accidentally. We go now back to the screener layout. Of course, the screener can also call out. This can be done by pressing the talk button on a free line. Then the dialing window is opened and he can dial manually. Alternatively, he can search the data entry mask for a name, number, or a location. Here all matching entries are now displayed and we can select the one which is interesting for us. And by using the right mouse key, we can select on which line we want to establish the connection. We can also pre-allocate the caller to a free line by using this button. In this way, the screener can prepare a show for the presenter so that the presenter later on only has to press the on-air button to be connected to the caller. This was more or less the functionality of the Magic TH IP Pro screener software. Important to mention is that the individual functions can also be activated or deactivated for the different workplaces. This means we can, for example, deactivate the on-air functionality for the screener, or we can also enable the pre-talk functionality for the presenter. This depends on the requirements of the radio station.